Hey, I'm JERMgaming, and today we'll be comparing Rocket League on the PS4 and the Potato Masher. The Potato Masher is a $350 PC custom built in December of 2014 and designed to compete against the PS4 for the remainder of its life cycle. The goal is not to prove that PCs are better than consoles, but to show that PC gaming can be competitive with consoles for around the same amount of money. There are a lot of links in the description of this video that will give you more information, but for now, let's get to it. Rocket League was a surprise runaway hit this summer. Not only does it feature fast, competitive, and easy-to-learn gameplay, but it's one of the very few games that allows people on different platforms to compete with and against each other. Because of this, you'd expect it to be very important for both platforms to have a visually similar experience to avoid giving one side a competitive advantage. This is largely the case. The Potato Masher does look a little bit better, but it's only by a very small margin. Anti-aliasing is much better on the PC, and anisotropic filtering is slightly better. A few maps had subtle changes to lighting quality or volumetric effects like smoke clouds, but these are so small that I didn't notice them until I did a few side-by-side comparisons. Textures, models, and pretty much everything else appears to be identical. Curiously, the PS4 version of the Utopia map features additional architecture on the virtual stadium's perimeter and a slightly darker lighting setup. But other than that, both versions of the game are very close to identical. The PS4 runs Rocket League at 1080p and an unlocked frame rate. While it's capable of 60 FPS at times, the game normally stays in the mid-40s or low 50s. It is V-synced, so there's no noticeable screen tearing, which is good. On the Potato Masher, Rocket League ran at very high settings, 1080p and 60 FPS. There were occasional dips to 57 or 58 FPS, but the game is mostly 60 and dips of 2 to 3 FPS aren't felt. Dropping to high settings means that the frame rate never drops at all, but given the slight drops at very high settings, I'd rather have the better visuals in this case. Overall, both versions look great, and while the Potato Masher is technically better looking, the differences will be almost unnoticeable to anyone who isn't that bothered by excessive aliasing. A stable 60 FPS is of course better than a variable frame rate, but the PS4 keeps the frame rate high enough that it's only really noticeable when the footage is slowed down to half or even quarter the normal frame rate. I did see a little bit of frame time variance on the PS4 version at quarter speed, but this was unnoticeable when I was actually playing the game. At 1440p and high settings, Rocket League still maintained 60 FPS. I had zero dips in frame rate, so high settings once again appears to be the sweet spot between quality and performance. As usual, 4K requires a little more sacrifice. Rocket League still looks great at low settings, and you'll need to drop the settings that far to maintain 60 FPS. If you increase the settings to medium, the game is still mostly 60, with drops into the 40s and 50s, much like the PlayStation 4 version. This is pretty impressive considering 4K is 4 times the resolution of the PS4 version. I've played at least 15 hours of Rocket League on both platforms before I even started this comparison. It's a really fun game, and I love it on both platforms. Yes, the Potato Masher has more options to tailor the experience to exactly what you want, but both versions run extremely well and look fantastic. If it weren't for the excessive aliasing on the PS4, I would call this a complete tie. If you have questions about the Potato Masher, look in the description of this video for links to the original build video. You can also click the link on screen right now to see a frequently asked questions video. There's also a high-quality download of this video in the description in case you want to pixel peep. Leave a comment if there's a game you'd like me to test on the Potato Masher, and have a great day.